Hey there, I'm Sully, and as always, welcome into the Gun Club. Sorry we're starting a little bit late, having a couple of tech issues here. One of the streams never popped off when it went. Not sure if it's running right now, although I do believe it is. If you are watching on YouTube, if you would hit me up real quick in the chat, let me know that it's alive, it's running, and it's functioning normally. And if you're in the Rumble crowd, if you would give me a thumbs up, let me know that it's running and good. We're trying to make sure that we're up on both frames here before we get in too deep. Not sure what happens today, but apparently one of the streams didn't want to go to one of the stream destinations. Make it real simple. Today, a little change of pace from what we do a lot of times. We're going to do one of our Thursday night discussions, and it's going to be a little change of pace because we're going to get out of the news so much, and we're going to do something a little bit more informational and or educational, or maybe do a little bit more fun, a little bit more of a deep dive. Okay. I haven't gotten the live note that I'm on yet. Folks, I'm not sure again if we're going out anywhere here. Hold on, let me check. Nothing but the highest production quality from this organization, as always. Let's see. Okay, yes, I am live in the Rumble channel, apparently. Good deal. And it appears YouTube's up also, which, first priority, make sure we're up for Rumble. And if we're on YouTube, that's great. If we're not, okay, I can copy it over there later if I have to. Now, when I put this together for situational awareness for a topic today, I want to give you a little backstory, give you an idea of kind of where my mind was, what I was going through, what I was thinking, what prompted me to come up with situational awareness as a topic, or what is situational awareness? Well, we'll start with what it is. And the textbook definition, what is situational awareness? The perception of the elements in the environment within a volume of time and space, the comprehension of their meaning, and the projection and the status of the significance in the near future. That's a great book definition. What the hell did I just say? Okay, backtrack. Perception of elements in your environment within that time and space. Okay. The understanding of their meaning and what is the significance and status of the future. Okay. I read it again a little slower. Understanding what's around you, what it means, and what it could potentially mean to you in the future. Now, simple. You go out to a grocery store. You're going grocery shopping. Or even better, you go order, pick up, take out from a Chinese place. They got pretty good egg rolls. And their chicken and garlic sauce, Szechuan, real good. Szechuan, real good stuff. So you put in an order to go. And you think, there's a couple things I need at the house. And the guy said it's going to be 15 minutes to cook. And there's a food line right next door. There's a grocery store. So you say, while my food's cooking, I can run next door, grab some food, grab a couple things I needed from the grocery store, and that way I don't have to go out tomorrow. Sounds simple enough. So you go into the grocery store, and it's not a place you go frequently or regularly, and you go in there, and you're picking up your 2-3 items. Now, you're trying to remember your shopping list. You're thinking about food. You've been at class all day. Got 47 things on your mind. Now, most beautiful woman in the world walks up within 10 feet of you, 15 feet of you. Are you aware of her? You're checking her out. I mean, you're a guy, or if in the case of you're a girl, there he is, great looking guy, checking you out. Are you aware of it? If you're not, you may miss out. Now, in my case, I'm standing there figuring out what all I need, thinking about my shopping list, thinking about what paperwork I got to do from class. I'm a million miles away, and an old dear friend walked up right behind me. She's 6-7 feet from me, spoke to me 3 times, didn't even realize she was there. totally clueless. I was physically standing in that grocery store with this very, very attractive lady trying to say hey to me. I'm totally clueless. I was not situationally aware. Now, eventually, got what I got, turned around, you know. Now, for that situation, oh well, no big deal. Had that person been somebody who was doing something negative, instead of being someone who wanted to come over and say, hey, had that person been negative, had that person been a criminal, had that person been someone wanting to mug me, steal the phone, steal my, you know, wallet, they would have been up on top of me before I even knew where they were. We hear a lot of times victims of crime, what? He came out of nowhere. We hear they were on top of me before I knew it. I didn't know what was happening. It happened so fast. Well, short of the Star Trek transporter and Mr. Scott beaming someone down right next to you, that individual had to come from somewhere. That individual at one point was 25, 50 yards away from you, but you were not aware of them at 25 yards. You were not aware of them at 10 yards. You're not aware of them at 5 yards. They became aware of them when they became a threat. And bad guys, criminals, tend to be rather good at being kind of sleuthy and stealthy and sneaky. Yeah. But on the other side of that coin, let's go one step further here. Had you been aware of them and you focused on them and identified them, could you have taken evasive action? Could you have protected yourself? Would you be at least in a better position to make that decision if you were aware earlier? And that's where we get into situational awareness. And again, we use this technique and this concept in a lot of things, but we're going to talk about just being out in public and being situationally aware. Now, I live in the South, in South Carolina. We don't get a lot of snow down here. We do occasionally get some snow and ice in the wintertime. A lot of little pretty snow, a lot of ice. But the thing is, we know, hey, there's a storm coming. We prepare for it. We know in advance. We don't just wake up in the morning and say, wow, look, it's snow and ice on the road. If you're situationally aware, you think about it beforehand. Oh, wow, it's supposed to get some wintry mix or snow and ice. Us Southerners, we got to run to the store, go get some bread and some milk and some milk and some bread and milk, because we all know that milk sandwiches will save you in the snowpocalypse. If you're smart, you get some eggs and make French toast. Maybe a little vanilla, a little cinnamon, we'll talk. But the thing is, the storm is coming. You're aware of it a day or two in advance and thus able to prepare for it. Same with the hurricane. The folks down in Florida, they got this down. When the hurricane gets to so far off the coast, they start taking up the patio furniture, boarding up the windows. They're ready to rock. If you were not aware of it and did not know it was coming and had no clue, such as something you can't plan for, a tornado, an earthquake, that catches someone totally unaware. That's why those events can be so much more deadly than a hurricane. Hurricane, people evacuate a week in advance or 5 days in advance. They're prepared for it. And we can't quite do that here. So when we talk about situational awareness, we do it all the time. We perceive elements in the environment within the volume of space and time. We figure out what that means and what it could mean and what status or significance in the future. Now, make it a little simpler here. The sooner that we recognize a threat or potential threat when we're out and about and doing our daily business, the sooner we can prepare for it, the sooner we can address it. Now, addressing it may be encountering it, may be engaging with it, maybe avoidance. You're walking out into the parking lot after going to the grocery store. Yeah, I go to the grocery store a lot. And you've got your cart with all your stuff in it. And you see Three very tough looking individuals standing there staring at you between you and the car you're going to. Now you have a choice. You can keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, and see how close you get to them. Or possibly take a moment there and reassess the situation. What's going on? If I make a run for it, is there anyone behind me? Do I have an escape alley? Is it safer to maybe walk back into the store for a minute and ask the manager or someone to walk me out? Or do I want to just keep walking? Now, if you're not paying attention and you're thinking about where you need to be and what you got to do, and you got your phone out and you're going through your list, figuring what you got and everything else, you may not see those people. You may not be situationally aware. So we'll talk a lot about situational awareness. And again, it may be that you decide, well, they don't look that threatening. Maybe they just seem fine. I'll keep walking. But you realize as you get closer, one of them has a knife or something in their hand, but you've identified them. Is this a potential threat? You identify it as early as possible. I want to look a little closer. What do they have in their hands? What are they doing? Are they sitting talking about the football game they're all getting ready to go to? Or, I'm looking at them right now and they're staring right at me. And, he's got his hand under his jacket in a way I don't like. Speaking of jackets, it's 78 degrees outside. Why is he wearing a bulky winter jacket? What's he hiding under that? Questions you need to ask. Or you can just walk up and see what happens. And he'll show you what he's hiding under his jacket. And at that point, he'll relieve you of your valuables, your car keys, and perhaps your life. Situational awareness. So let's dig in a little bit further on this concept. What do we want to be aware of? Well, the elements in the environment. We're going to break that sentence down. People. People can be a threat. Now, not everyone is a threat. There's a lot of great people out there going about living their day. But the thing is, people can pose a threat or potential threat to us. We always say guns don't kill people. People with guns kill people. Like I mentioned before, summer day. Look at that guy wearing that bulky jacket with his hand up under it. Wonder what he's carrying. Objects. Now, an object can be something that's out of the ordinary, something that's not right. We see a vehicle parked in a strange place that we've never seen a vehicle parked before. Something wrong. Why are they parked there? You get home from work. Why is there a plumber's truck parked in front of my house? I didn't call for a plumber. Well, perhaps they're using it as a cover to burglarize your house. Now, of course, you could decide to go on in and see what happens and walk into a burglary. How many people are in there? Are they armed? How well armed are they? Have they found your home firearms? Have they found your home firearms? And are they aware to see you coming in the door? What are you walking into? Or do we drive back up the road and call the PD and just watch the van to see if it pulls out? Pretty good question. If you're situationally aware, that object, that van shouldn't be there. Hey, I didn't leave that picnic table up next to that back window. Could somebody have used that to get in the house? What am I walking into? Maybe they're on and gone. We hope, ideally, but cues, environmental factors. If you walk into the big box store, the grocery store, do I smell some kind of fire or smoke, something, maybe like electrical fire? I'm standing right here 5 feet from the door. Or do I want to keep on walking and get all the way into the middle of the store and see what we can find, roll out of event then? That's an environmental factor. How about a chemical? Think about it. You live in the big city. I grew up in the big city. You're going down to the subway station. You hear people screaming. You hear someone walking back up the road, and guess what? Someone walking back up the stairs says, yeah, there's some kind of weird chemical smell down there. Remember, we had sarin gas attacks in subways. Now, I'm not telling you to be paranoid. I'm not saying you're walking into a sarin gas attack. These are great examples of being situationally aware. If everybody is coming running, screaming out of the front and back of a building, you probably don't want to walk into it. Just guessing. Now, if you're like me, you work in public safety, law enforcement, whatever, then yeah, maybe it's your job to go into buildings where everyone's running out of. But if you ain't dressed to impress, ready to do the job, probably don't need to be doing it. I see we've got Bill rolling over here in the chat and um, the Rumble stream. Good evening, sir. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope the little dozer is dozing well for you, sir. As far as, other things we can talk about in the environment, we take all these things and we try to comprehend the meaning and the significance of them. Some things out of the ordinary, what could it be? There's one person standing there near my vehicle, and there's one person standing there, and they're walking over towards me as I walk toward my vehicle. And wait a minute, who's that guy who just poked up behind me? Where did he come from? Do I realize I've got three people and three that now they might not even know each other, but we would come up to a pattern and try to come up with its idea, what it could be, project the status of the future. Single lane road, blocked. They had one years ago. These guys would want to carjack people. They'd go down an exit ramp that had barriers on both sides. They'd slow way down, finally stop. Well, car, of course, stops behind them. Once they've got the car stopped, two guys hop out the back seat with guns, and they take your car. If you offered any resistance, they threw you off the side of the ramp. It wasn't particularly nice of them. Now, if you're situationally aware and you realize you're getting into an ambush point, drive on through. Yep, I see a post recently. A wife of 30 years was shocked to learn that her husband was constantly assessing possible threats to the family. She never did that. And again, we say the men are protectors. Anyone can be the protector and anyone can be situationally aware. I got my hair cut today, and I happened to be chatting with the stylist, and I was telling her I was doing a show tonight, and we got talking about situational awareness. I said, have you ever been followed around the grocery store by someone? And she said, no. I said, how do you know? Were you paying attention? I think I scared her a little bit. I then went to the next one. I told her, I said, okay, here's my question. If you're out in the parking lot, or you and I are both walking out the store, she's a very pretty young girl, probably 20, 25 years old, cute little thing. And I said, you got someone out in the parking lot and they're trying to decide if they're going to take my phone and wallet or your phone and wallet. Yeah. Which one of us do you think presents a more attractive target? My 6'2", 275-pound ass or you? And she said, well, me. And I said, exactly. So are you situationally aware? How many times have you walked around with your brain in your phone? It's not a good thing. And again, so we take the elements, how it looks, what the possibilities are. And again, it's not being necessarily paranoid. No, it's just being aware of possibilities. We do it for weather. Now, there's a published color code, came out published by Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Cooper. He was a retired Marine, brilliant man, basically one of the fathers of modern gunfighting and modern, self-defense. And he had the 4 levels, and each level of awareness is determined by the situation presented to you and how you potentially foresee it progressing. The level of awareness can give you a mental checklist that you can use to start guiding your actions. Now, when we talk about guiding your actions, let's put it this way. If you're working through a mental checklist, chances are you're going to do better than if you're trying to figure it out on your own under manic panic stress. Okay, what's going on? What do I need to do? What am I thinking? Where are the possibilities? Where are we at? All that kind of stuff. The more prep time you have, the more heads up time you have, the better off you are. It also helps your decision making. Think about it. Bad weather's coming in. Okay, if it gets to a category such and such storm, we need to pull the furniture off the patio. And if it gets to be a little bit more, we need to board up the windows. And if it gets a little bit more, maybe, we're going to have the wife take the kids to a hotel inland. And if it gets a little bit more, the husband's going there too. And that way, as the storm gets worse, if you've got that checklist and if this, then that, you're ready to respond. You're not trying to make a decision on the fly. So we'll talk about Jeff Cooper's color code list here. First off is condition white. And I'll flat out I'll plead guilty on this one. Maybe due to the pandemic, due to, just being a little bit brain dead sometimes. I was up at that Food Line the other day. I was totally in condition white. I had someone standing right next to me, someone who I think quite highly of, very nice person, worked together with her for years, standing talking to me, and I did not have a damn clue. I was relaxed. I was unaware. I was focused on picking up what I was, figuring out what I was going to be making for the football games the next day. Now this is a level that a lot of people live in, and it doesn't mean that they're bad people or they're stupid or anything else. It means they're good people. They're good, decent human beings going about their lives, but their level of awareness, they might as well be taking a nappy nap. And that's a problem, because if someone's going to do something, they are looking for someone in condition white. That is the attractive target. The attractive target is in condition white. That person's not even paying any attention. Think of just, you're trying to have a little fun with a coworker. You're trying to sneak up on them and scare the hell out of them. Guess what? If they're totally clueless to the fact that you're doing it and you tippy-toe right up on them and you're up on them before they even know it, you tap them on the shoulder and they scream. Well, it was a tap on the shoulder, not a knife in the ribs. Good thing. But that is condition white. The more we can stay out of condition white, even in our homes, staying out of condition white, it's a good thing. And then there's condition yellow. Now, condition yellow isn't really paranoid. It's what we call relaxed alertness. I'm relaxed. I'm at home. I'm alert to what's going on. I know that the doors are locked. I know I locked the truck. I'm aware if I see anyone around me, if there's anything going on, if the motion detectors go off outside, something goes on. Now, if in a grocery store, relaxed alertness. That's strange. That person's been on the same aisle as me 5 times. Now, they may just be picking up the same groceries I am. But I've now identified that person and said, something's weird. I may want to pay attention and see if I keep seeing that. Condition yellow. I'm walking out to my car. Why are those 2 people staring at me? Unless they got a booger hanging out my nose or something. Shouldn't be getting that much attention. Now, again, you're alert, you're relaxed, you're going about your life, but you're sort of aware, 360 degrees. That person who's walking behind me is getting closer. I can hear their footsteps getting closer. What do I see? What do I hear? What's wrong? Now we may naturally go into condition yellow if we go into a strange area or we're concerned about something. We're going into a building we've not been in before, maybe a little bit more uncomfortable and not settled into that condition white. But we're aware of our environment. We know what's going on. At least we know if there's anyone around us. We look at condition orange. Now, condition orange, we have a specific alert or a specific awareness of something. Okay? That guy's been walking behind me, 2 feet behind me, 10 feet behind me. Okay. That car is still following me. Why is that car still following me? I'm going to make a really strange turn and see if that car makes that same strange turn, because if they do, they could be following me home. Again, Dallas, Texas, Recently had people follow home from the bank. Did the stream on it Tuesday night. Guy and his kid get followed home from the bank. They back in their driveway. 3 men jump out with guns. Yeah, in his driveway. Fortunately, the guy was still in the car, was able to get away. But had he been more aware, they may not know where he lives right now. But when we identify in condition orange, we've identified something of interest that may or may not be a threat, but it's interesting. That truck. I've seen that truck. That little red car comes by the house every day. Why? You can remain in yellow to all the other areas, but you may have an orange alert going on. If that guy keeps walking this direction, something's wrong. I'm walking from the store out to my car in the parking lot. Most people, they park their car, they go in the store. They leave the store, they go out to their car. Somebody walking across or parallel in a parking garage is abnormal. In a parking lot. Think about it in a parking garage. Most people in a parking garage. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Most people in a parking garage are leaving the building, walking out to their car. They're not standing around in between cars in the shadows. Now, if someone is standing in the shadows and you've got to go directly past them to get to your car so they can size you up, and then they are behind you after you pass them, you don't want to pass them. Now, do you walk back inside? I mean, nowadays everybody's got one of these. Do you act like you forgot something in your office and walk back inside? And whether it's calling law enforcement, building security, whatever, say, look, there's a guy out there standing in the shadows. I mean, hey, maybe he's just out there, using the restroom in the corner of the parking garage. That happens. Maybe he's just out there doing something stupid. Maybe he's out there, shooting up. Who knows? But the thing is, it doesn't fit. It doesn't belong. It's now at a code orange. And then whether I take a direct action, I've got to begin thinking of my action. Now, if I stop like I forget something and he comes charging towards me, I've also determined what my red line is for a defensive action. Okay, if he keeps coming toward me, at what point am I going to clear my jacket back? At what point am I going to tell him, stop, I'm armed, get away from me? At what point am I going to draw a weapon? You can come up with this. Again, we think about condition orange. We've identified something. And if it keeps going the way it's going, we're going to do something. Doesn't mean we've done it at that point. It just means I identified it. I come up with a plan how to address it. And again, these are all, if the storm gets this bad, we're going to evacuate. If the storm doesn't get that bad, we'll stay home. Very simple. Now, condition red. Condition red, it's gotten that bad. It's crossed whatever line we came up with in orange. If that guy keeps walking this way, if that guy won't show me his hands, think about it. You're standing outside in your yard. That's strange. Person walking up the driveway. Condition orange. I'm going to walk over and say hello. I say hello, how are you doing? But at the same time, if he starts screaming profanity at me and pulls a weapon, I'm going to respond. Well, once you get into condition red, you're responding. Now, your response can be fight, engage with the individual. It may be flight. It may be a combination thereof. You also want to be wary of other individuals. Again, I hate to keep going back to the shopping center parking lot, but we're seeing it more and more. Group of kids drives around a shopping center parking lot, decides there's a car that they want to take. Now, they could possibly try to steal the car themselves or hotwire it or this, that, or the other, but there's only one problem. It's kind of obvious right in the parking lot. So they've got some choices. They can put an air tag on it. They put a little air tag on it or a tracking device on it. They can follow that person home, do it at their residence. It's a lot easier that way, and a lot less witnesses if you just jack their car in their driveway. Or they have one person standing out there, walk up to you, excuse me, I was at the gas station, I ran out of gas, I lost my wallet, blah, 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 blah. Great story. While someone's walking up behind you. Think if you're walking from the store, if someone is coming behind you outside the store, guess what? You turn around and try to go back to the store, you can't. That's why we're aware of 360 degrees. So we always want to be aware, where's around me? How close are they? Are they a threat? Now, we talk about this one, and again, think of the running rabbit in the backyard. I walk out of my back patio, he's going to stop what he's doing, eating clover. He's going to look. And I'm 50 yards away. He can look at me and say, okay, there's something over there. It's 50 yards away. Not really bothering me, not causing me any problem, but I'm going to be aware of him. I'm going to sort of keep an eye on him. Because you know what? I know that guy can't run out here 50 yards faster than I can get away. But if he starts closing the distance between here and there, I may need to make a run for it. Now, if I start walking toward that running rabbit, he's gone. He's going to decide once I get to a certain point, I'm now a threat. I'm not a threat at 50 yards away, but he's identified me 50 yards out. Now, when we get into Condition Black, this wasn't necessarily one of Jeff Cooper's original things. This has been one that's been used a lot of times, whether it's in gunfighting or different things. You are actively taking action. You may be in the fight, you may be engaging or evading the threat. It's a fight or flight response. This is the point when you said, hell with the grocery basket, I'm running for my life, or, I'm pulling a weapon, or I'm engaged with something. If we get to Condition Black, we still need to be aware of all the threats. We still need to say, look, situational awareness, I'm engaging this bad guy. But what about that other one over there? What's he doing? Where is he going? Is he taking cover? Is he flanking me? Being situationally aware of who's around, what's around, and where you're at, and what's going on. This is the kind of thing that can save your butt. And again, people walk around in condition white. We've got the color code here. White, lowest level. Generally unaware. I'm having a good day. I'm living my life like a normal human. Yellow, I'm situationally aware. I know what's going on. No one's near me. No one's looking at me. No one's paying me any extra attention. And again, it's not paranoid. It's just being aware of what's going on around you. Orange, something's kind of bugging me. Red, okay, whatever's bugging me has now started to cross a line. And black, I'm in a problem. And I need to have plans for that. Now, there's few things we have here that really potentiate the others, and these are awareness killers. And when we say potentiates, 1 and 1 makes 3, not just one making 2. They add up to actually work exponentially with each other. If you're dealing with a heavy or increasing workload, now I don't just mean at work, although we talk workload, your workload at the grocery store. Okay, I need to get all these items. Oh, they're out of 3 things I need, so I'm going to have to go to an extra grocery store. Time pressures. Now, I've got to get to that extra grocery store before I have to be home to get the kids off the school bus, and I've got to get all this done, and, I've got to pick up the dry cleaning, and the traffic is lousy. If you are dealing with a list of errands like this that are getting perpetually more complicated because of things, whatever those things are, and I got to go by the bank, but they shut down the drive-thru, so I'm going to have to get out and go inside. But if I get out and go inside, I'm going to turn the car off, and I've got cold stuff here that I'm picking up at the grocery store. If you're in a complex situation and your brain is processing all those great thoughts, guess what? You're not situationally aware of what's around you. That was what burned me the other day at Food Line, and I'll claim it. Now, I didn't get hurt or anything because, fortunately, it was, a friend of mine. But very simply, You know, I was in there, I was thinking, okay, I need to get this stuff for the stuff I'm cooking for football tomorrow. Food will be ready next door at the Chinese place for me to pick up. I'll go home and get to unload all this. I had been at the range that day, had been teaching, so I had two or three long guns to clean. I had two or three other things to work on. My brain was anywhere but worried about who was standing behind me. Cell phones. We live with this wonderful piece of equipment in our pocket that can give us all the knowledge in the world and cat videos. But the thing is, if we are sitting there watching videos like this, especially if you've got earbuds in or AirPods or whatever, guess what? You may not hear that person walking up behind you. You may not be that aware of it. If you're thinking, listening to your favorite podcast, maybe listen to me, walking out from the store and someone's walking up behind you. If you get AirPods in, guess what? You don't hear those footsteps. They can be on you pretty quickly. And those big white things hanging out of your ear, they'll look for that. Now, radios, and especially satellite radio, can really kill your situational awareness in some levels. And when I say satellite radio, there was recently a convict who escaped. I believe it was in Michigan. He escaped from a hospital. Now, this guy was in jail, in prison, for some really bad stuff. They took him to the hospital for medical treatment for whatever was going on, and he managed to escape from the hospital. Well, guess what? They broadcast over all the local radio stations this guy's description, what he was wearing, where he was going, possibly, all this stuff broadcast over all the local stations. Satellite radio, you don't have that, because satellite radio is broadcast from, here in South Carolina. We're listening to DJs that are in New York City, up in, the Cirrus buildings. Now, I'm not saying it's bad or it's wrong or it's evil, but you're not getting your local news brief. What if there's a bad hazmat leak, bad chemical leak? What if there's an active shooter? Could you accidentally walk into an active shooting situation? Yeah. Now, I'm not saying don't listen to your satellite radio. I do. And I've got a phone and I do all this. But I'm aware of the fact that, dude, it's in a way shutting things out. In the old days, go way back, your local, news was in town. If there was a prison break and there were inmates out on the highway, or inmates trying to hide in backyards, or there was a police pursuit in your neighborhood, guess what? Yeah, there's a police pursuit in your neighborhood and two men took off in the bushes, and it turns out they're 2 blocks away from your house. Well, guess what? When you get home from work and there's that guy sitting out on your back patio, you may be a little bit concerned. But if you've been listening to a station from another state, you're not going to know about it. And it's going to be an attention sink, And if you're on your phone and you're talking to someone, you're doing 14 other things, you may not even realize that your door is a little bit ajar. And why are those muddy footprints on your patio? You don't have boots that size. You haven't been running through the woods in prison boots. No. Folks, I try to bring this stuff up. I want everyone to be safe. I want normal, decent members of society to have wonderful days and to live their life and not be paranoid. But on the other side of that coin, I also realize that crime is bad. And crime is getting worse. And you hear stories, the one up in Baltimore, big tech CEO, brilliant lady. She's one of the best 30 under 30 tech CEOs. She apparently crossed swords or met somebody who was not too nice of a person. The gentleman was a multiple murderer, and she lost her life. Now, could she potentially have been more situationally aware? Think about nowadays with active shooters. If you're out somewhere and you hear pop, 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 do you assume it's fireworks or do you assume it's gunshots? To me, unless it's like the 3rd or 4th of July or New Year's night, okay, what stores are around here? Where am I? What's going on? You're aware of it. Last thing you want to do is walk into a store during an active shooting event. And that has happened. People have walked literally past a car with a dead body in it and windows blown out and walked into an active shooter and been killed. And it happens. So, again, we're aware of it. And meanwhile, people were running out the back of the store. And someone walked right in on it. Walked into houses being burglarized. Walk into a holdup at a restaurant. Think about it. You're going out to your local restaurant. Do you glance in the windows as you're going in? What if they're being robbed and you walk in and the bad guy thinks you're the popo? Well, that's okay. I mean, the gun's probably not loaded, right? Alrighty, folks, that's all I've got. Again, want to just preach situational awareness, talk about this. If you've got questions, please drop them down in the chat. I'm sorry we're a little bit late on messed up starting today. If you like what we're doing with this, trying to do a little bit more information and educational, please, by all means, give us a thumbs up. Give us a follow on Rumble. We've got to support Rumble because Rumble has been great about supporting free speech, and their free speech is what's letting us do honest stuff about this. And when we say honest stuff, I'll make it real simple. Some of the stuff I'm going to talk about in these classes may not be like feel-good, happy time stuff. It may not be everybody's lovey-dovey and life is wonderful kind of stuff. But you know what? It's going to be honest stuff. It's like I told the girl today who cut my hair, I think I might have scared her a little bit, and I apologize. I said, look, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to give you nightmares, but I'd much rather be honest with you and have you have a nightmare or two than, come in here next month to get my hair cut and then say, yeah, she got jumped in the parking lot. It didn't work out well. And I don't live in a bad area. I live in a really great area. But you know what? We need to watch out for ourselves, watch out for each other. Crime keeps getting worse. Things keep getting crazier. It is what it is. And like I said, you got a question, please feel free to email me. It's mike.southeastdefense@gmail.com. By all means. And Bill, I appreciate you being in here in the chat with us today. I think we've still got about 8 people on the stream in Rumble. Not sure if this went out on YouTube or not. We're having some trouble getting it hooked up in the beginning. Folks, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And I'll be back in on Tuesday with the weekly review. Bye.